Have you been working on creating a more secure attachment style, but maybe you've gotten a little bit stuck and you're not sure what to try next? Do you need a more practical solution on how you can become a more securely attached person? If so, this video is for you. Hello, my name is Melissa. I'm a registered psychologist and coach. And if you're looking to work with me, just go to the description box below and find my details and we can get something set up. All right, let's dive into the video. So, what are the cornerstones of a securely attached person? I would argue the three most important cornerstones of being a securely attached person would be confidence in relationships, healthy communication, and the ability to regulate your nervous system, or otherwise known as emotional regulation. So those would be the three things that if you can do those well, you probably are a securely attached person. If not, let's look at a practical technique you can use to apply to all three of those cornerstones to bring you into more secure attachment. And that is presence, being in the now moment. Being in the now moment is going to make you confident in relationships, an excellent communicator, and the ability to have emotional regulation. It just will. So let me get into how being present actually moves you into being those three amazing traits that we just talked about. But before we get into that, let's first talk about what does it mean to be present. What it means to be present is that you are highly attuned to what's going on inside your body. It means you are constantly bringing your focus and awareness back to the now. So multiple times a day, you are coming into the now moment, feeling into your bodily sensations, feeling into the different feelings that you're feeling. Doesn't mean you have to engage in those feelings and ruminate on those feelings. It just means that you have an awareness of various feelings that are coming up and you look at them with non-judgment instead of apply a story to whatever is coming up. It means that you're really highly attuned to your surroundings. So when you're driving, you're all in. You're paying attention to the road. You know who's behind you. You know who's beside you. You know who's ahead of you. When you're showering, you're all in. You're like washing your hair. You're smelling the shampoo. You're feeling the sensation of your hair between your fingers. When you're washing dishes, you're all in. You are, noticing how clean it's getting with every swipe, every pass. This is what I'm talking about. This is how you become more present and come into the now moment. Now let's get into how you're going to apply the now moment to your three cornerstones of relationship. Okay, first up, being confident in relationships. When you are in the now moment, you're almost immune to triggers, which means that things that happened in the past or things you're scared about happening in the future are really non-issues because you are solidly in the now moment. So you don't have stories following you around from the past. You don't have fears following you around moving into your future for you. You're right here, right now. So super important to be a confident person. You want to be here and now. Now, does that mean that you can never get triggered? No. Sometimes you get triggered and the amygdala in your brain just does. It gets triggered. It sends off all the alarms. It shoots, it sends messages to shoot cortisol through your body. This is a real thing that happens. But what you can do in these moments is remain present, stay with all the physical sensations in your body like we talked about earlier, and maybe this is an opportunity for you to go in and do some inner child work, or maybe some parts work. I'll link a video to parts work up here. And that is going to keep you in the here and the now by doing the work required to move the triggers out of the way to keep you in a confident state in your relationships. Remember, coming into relationship in a confident way means that you're not really afraid of the person hurting you because they can hurt you, but you work with that hurt by doing the inner child work or the parts work, right? So you don't have to live in fear anymore. You can just be solely yourself. Just show up as you are And that is really the most rewarding way to be in relationships. Okay, the second reason being present is going to help you in those really important cornerstones, so this one is on communication, is because when you are present in communication, you're not totally focused on what you're going to say next. And you're not like creating stories in your head about how to respond. You're not getting defensive. You're being here and now, and you're building trust with the person that you are having a conversation with. And so what being present does, staying in our body, staying in the sensations that are coming up, is it keeps us out of the stories like we talked about before, the stories from the past or the stories from that you're scared about happening in the future. It keeps all of that out, and it just puts you right here, right now, where you can just show up and get great ideas on how to respond to that person because you're keeping your mind clear and you're staying in the now. I know, this is easier said than done. It can be really hard to stay present in the middle of communication, especially difficult communication. But that's why this is a practice, okay? So now the other thing that being present does is it's kind of contagious. So if you're staying in the now moment, you're not getting defensive, you're responding, not reacting in the conversation, you're going to encourage the other person to be more present as well, and for them to come into the conversation without being defensive or putting up their guard in their own ways. And this happens because we have mirror neurons in our brain, which basically has us mimicking each other when we're in connection. So if you've noticed when you are out for lunch with a friend, when you lean in, that person will lean in. If you touch your hair, they might touch their hair. So this is the power of you holding presence in your communication, is that you are going to be a contagious person in your presence, and your communication skills will be passed on to the other person. Now, the third cornerstone of a securely attached person is having strong emotional regulation skills. And being present is going to allow you to stay in the moment so that you are able to choose what your next thing is that you're going to say. You're going to be able to choose what your next thought is that you're going to think. You're going to be able to choose what your next emotion is that you're going to feel, because you're in the here and the now. You're in a timeless state of just nowness. You're not in the past, you're not in the future, you're not dragging those stories from the past or the future and putting them into now. You're just right here, right now, in the okayness of what is. And when you are in that state, you have choice. You have freedom of choice to decide what emotion, what thought, feeling is going to come up next, and whether you accept it and move on it, or you reject it and decide you're not going to react to that. You have so much power in the present moment. You create distance from a negative emotion that can be coming up, because what you're doing is you're observing it and you're noticing it and you're paying attention to where it is in your body. You're paying attention to the stories that it's telling you in your head. You're not acting on it and saying something that you regret or doing something that you regret. Rather, you're noticing, and you're staying in that noticing state, which then allows you to choose the next reaction that you want to have. So all in all, being present is going to help you become a securely attached person in all the ways that matter. But I'm curious, have you tried being present in your practice of becoming a securely attached person? If so, leave a comment below. If you have any questions about this video also, please leave a comment below and I will be sure to get back to you. All right, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.